Welcome to Week in Minutes. Have a nice day. Today is Sunday, 15th of June 2025. Now, starting the newspaper with the world news, including Israel vows to intensify attacks as Iran calls off nuclear talks with the United States. The United Nations warns of unprecedented global decline in fertility rates as financial pressures and work-life balances issues take toll. Who was a Democratic lawmaker shot to death in Minnesota? As we know so far, Trump military parade 2025. Why is the United States holding a military parade on Sunday, Trump's birthday? Putin Trump discuss Iran-Israel situation on a telephone, Kremlin aide says. Satellite images show how Israel strikes wreaked havoc on Iran bases. Now from the Hindu newspaper, we have Israel-Iran conflict updates. Iran announces Operation Honest Promise Free against Israel. State TV says Jordan announced the closure of its airspace late on June 14 for a second time since the start. Vladimir Putin condemned Israel's military operation against Iran and expressed a serious concern about a possible escalation of the conflict. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian warned on Saturday, June 14, 2025, that there would be a more severe and powerful response if Israel continued to strike his country. The continuation of Zionist aggression will be met with a more severe and a powerful response from Iranian armed forces, Mr. Pezeshkian said. Israel strikes also put further talks between the United States and Iran over a nuclear accord in doubt. The United States and Iran were scheduled to meet in Oman on Sunday, but AP reports that Oman says talks between Iran and the United States over Tehran's nuclear program will not now take place after Israeli strikes. India distances itself from Shanghai Cooperation Organization, a statement strongly condemning Israel's strikes against Iran. In a message released soon after the Shanghai Cooperation Organization issued a statement supporting Iran's sovereignty, the Ministry of External Affairs said as Israel-Iran hostilities should be dealt through the channels of dialogue and diplomacy. In the head on Friday, on June 13, 2025, said it was deeply concerned at the recent developments between the Iran and Israel and closely monitoring the evolution situation. A day after India abstained from the United Nations General Assembly, a resolution in a support of ceasefire in Gaza, the government of India distanced itself from Saturday's statement at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO) that strongly condemned Israeli military strikes on Iran, saying India did not participate in the discussion at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO) on this statement. In this statement, the SCO came out in support of Iran, a member state, and said the Israeli attacks had led to civilian casualties and were contrary to the international law and United Nations Charter. According to the Hindustan Times newspaper, says that teen who recorded while Air India crash a video very sacred recalled statement. Air India's Boeing 787 Dreamliner aircraft crashed within minutes of a takeoff from Ahmedabad's Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport. A 17-year-old boy who unknowingly captured the deadly crash of Air India AI-171 in Gujarat's Ahmedabad on Thursday recorded his statement to the police as an eyewitness. 8th flight B787 aircraft inspected after Air India crash, Aviation Minister says. Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu speaks during the press conference in New Delhi on Saturday. 8 out of the total 34 B787 fleet have already been inspected, Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu said on Saturday while addressing the media on the Air India flight that crashed on Thursday. As per the extended surveillance order by the DGCA, Directorate General of Civil Aviation, on Friday, 8 of the total 34 B787 have already been inspected, Naidu said. Minister did not elaborate on the findings of the surveillance. However, people familiar with the matter said that there was no issue found in the 8 respective 77s. Naidu also said that the black box was recovered at around 5 p.m. on Friday. People familiar with the matter said that it is the flight data recorded every hour of the black box that was found on Friday, and the cockpit voice recorder (CVR) is yet to be found. Manipur 328 firearms, 10,600 rounds seized as forces set up arms crackdown. The joint operation was carried out on Friday by the Manipur Police, Central Armed Police Forces, Indian Army, and Assam Rifles. Imphal, at least 328 firearms and 10,600 rounds of the ammunition were recovered during a search operation in the outskirts of the five valley districts: Imphal East, Imphal West, Bishnupur, Thobal, and the Kekching in Manipur Police said on Saturday. The joint operation was carried out on Friday by the Manipur Police, Central Armed Police Forces (CAPF), and Indian Army and the Assam Rifles (AR). The operation was launched during the intervening night of June 13 and 14, 2025, based on the specific intelligence inputs suggesting the presence of the hidden weapons in these areas. A statement issued by the Manipur Police on Saturday said. According to the statement, the 328 firearms covered in the operation include 151 self-loading rifles, SLRs, 65 and SAS Insas rifles, 73 assorted rifles, 12 light machine guns, LMGs, 6 AK series rifles, 5 carbine guns, 2 MP5 guns, 2 AMAG rifles, 1 AR-15 rifle, 6 pistols, 2 flare guns, 1 mortar, and 2 barrels. Now, going towards the economy of the country from the business point of view, Finance Minister Mr. Nirmala Sitharaman to take stock of tax issues. Department seek data from field offices. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will hold a detailed interaction with the indirect tax and direct tax authorities on June 20 and June 23, respectively. The Finance Minister is expected to lay special emphasis on the timely refund processing, especially in the export and sales linked categories, officials said. Biggest challenge in identifying bodies and handling them respectively to their families more. From the aviation point of view, post-mortem examinations are underway alongside the DNA profiling to help in identifying the bodies. Union Minister of the State Civil Aviation and Cooperation Muralidhar Mohal. Now, going to the science and tech, we have psychology shows signs of a recovery from replication crisis. According to the new analysis, the share of fragile significant results have dropped from 32% at the start of the crisis to 26%. To rebuild the public trust, scholars at the large have recommended research groups and journals adopt open data policies and pre-register studies. As if political broadsides were not enough to undermine public confidence in science, a deep-seated issue became apparent from within science itself in the 2010. The replication crisis research began to realize many publisher papers, especially in the psychology and medicine, contained results that could not be replicated. It was a surfeit of bad science that also undermined the work of the others that was erected on faulty results. But according to the new paper published in Advances in the Methods and Practices in Psychological Science, the psychology and at least may have learned its lesson. Its author, Duke University postdoctor Paul Bogdan Parsad, 2.4 lakh papers published between 2004 to 2024. To check whether the field has become more robust since the crisis unfolded, Bogdan focused on a fragile p-values. Statistical results that barely clear the usual cutoff be considered a significant of 0.01 to 0.05. The larger the share of such values, the shakier the evidence. Cooking oils can help recover silver from e-waste. Researchers from Finland have come up with an efficient chemical method to recycle silver using organic fatty acids. A vegetable oil of the kinds used in our daily cuisine contain organic fatty acids like linolenic and oleic acids. In families across the world, silver is used as precious metal next to gold. Happy occasions in most families are celebrating with the gold and silver garlands and rings. Silver is, of course, less expensive than gold, but when it comes to the use of industry and energy production, silver beats gold flat. Silver is used to capture sunlight through the rooftop solar panels across India, generating about 108 gigawatt of clean and green electricity yearly across the nation. About 10% of what is generated from coal. In addition, mobile phones used by about 1.4 billion people across India use silver for electricity conduction and storage. Each mobile phone uses 100 to 200 milligrams of silver. Likewise, a typical laptop computer uses 350 mg of silver. And we have about 50 million laptops in India. In the first, arc therapy beats tricky cancer while sparing nearby the tissue. The first person to receive step and shoot per arc was a 46-year-old woman whose parotid gland cancer had spread along her facial nerve towards the base of her skull. A team of experts in the United States has successfully used a technique called step and shoot spot scanning as proton and arc therapy (SPARC) to treat a patient's adenoid cystic carcinoma for the first time. SPARC works by targeting tumors with the protons while sparing surrounding tissue. The findings of the team at the Cornell Health William Beaumont University Hospital were published in the June 2025 issue of the International Journal of the Particle Therapy. Pollution awareness campaign for motorists at traffic signals in the Bengaluru. In addition to their regular duties, Bengaluru traffic police personnel have been tasked with the creating awareness about the fuel conservation and pollution control among motorists. Police officers stationed at the key junction are educating commuters about the impact of the fuel wastage and vehicle emission on the environment. A part of this new initiative, the Bayadarnapura traffic police are approaching the motorists waiting at a signal with an eco-friendly message and urging them to adopt simple yet impactful habits of switching off engines at long signals, maintaining vehicle health and reducing pollution, which causes global warming. Earliest known reference to a Telangana in a 600-year-old stone inscription in Telapur, Hyderabad. The inscription from the region of Firuz Shah Bahmani is in Telugu and records the name of the site at Telanganapura. An inscription from 1418 throws light on what could be perhaps the first reference to Telangana etched in stone, and that Telapur was a part of the Bahmani Sultanate of Gulbarga. An over 600-year-old stone inscription located in an unassuming corner of Telapur on the outskirts of Hyderabad may contain the earliest known reference to the name Telangana etched in stone. The tablet in Telugu, which continues to be legible, mentions Telanganapura, the name from which the region and later the state appears to have derived present name. A drive through the wide roads and roundabouts of the financial district, past clusters of high-rise brings one of the quiet Telapur neighborhood. Here time seems to slow down. It carries the trace of the village long subsumed by a city founded over 4 centuries ago. And now a metropolis, a Pochama, a temple stands on one side, is accompanied by a sculpture of a snake pit coiled by cobra. Opposite in a graveyard with a green wicket gate, a paved path leads to a few graves, while some burials are as recent as last year. Unmarked resting places hint at antiquated origins. Now, at last, there's a famous personality from India who is known by his famous name, Abul Kalam Ghulam Muhyiddin. Uh, Birth anniversary 1888 up to 22nd February 1958, better known as Maulana Azad, and sometimes referred as Abul Kalam Azad, was an Indian politician, writer, and activist of the Indian independence movement. A senior leader of the Indian National Congress, following the India's independence, he became the first Minister of Education in the Indian government. His contribution to establishing the Education Foundation in India is recognized by celebrating his birthday as National Education Day across the India. As a young man, Azad composed poetry in Urdu as well as the treatises on religion and philosophy. He rose to prominence through his work as a journalist, publishing works critical of the British Raj and espousing the cause of the Indian nationalism. Azad became the leader of the Khilafat movement, during which he came into the close contact with the Indian leader Mahatma Gandhi. After the failure of the Khilafat movement, he became closer to the Congress. Azad became the enthusiastic supporter of the Gandhi's ideas of non-violent civil disobedience and worked to organize the non-cooperation movement in protest of the 1919 Rowlatt Acts. Azad committed himself to Gandhi's ideals, including promoting Swadeshi indigenous products and the cause of Swaraj, self-rule for the India. In 1923, at the age of 35, he became the youngest person to serve the president of the Indian National Congress. In the October 1920, Azad was elected as a member of the Foundation Committee to establish Jamia Millia Islamia at Aligarh in Uttar Pradesh. Without taking help from the British colonial government, he assisted in shifting the campus of the university from Aligarh to New Delhi. In 1934, the main gate number 7 to the main campus of the university is named after him. Azad was one of the main organizers of the Darsana Satyagraha in 1931 and emerged as one of the most important national leaders of the time, prominently leading the cause of the Hindu-Muslim unity, as well as espousing secularism and socialism. He served as the Congress president from 1940 to 1945, during which the Quit India Rebellion was launched. Azad was imprisoned together with the entire Congress leadership. He also worked for Hindu-Muslim unity through the Al-Hilal newspaper. Maulana Azad says a very famous quotation. He says that education imparted by heart can bring revolution in the society. Because we must not for a moment forget it is a birthright of every individual to receive at least the basic education, without which he cannot fully discharge his duties as a citizen. Okay, thank you.